You were the biggest proponent in town, I think, last year on getting a tight end into that offense there. The thing that concerns me is it's a good question you brought up. Is it Stefanski's offense or is it Baker Mayfield's? I know eventually, and let's assume for argument's sake that Stefanski's going to be here a couple of years if they let him do his thing. Maybe there will be such a thing as the Stefanski offense, but until that happens, they've got to adapt a little bit more to Baker Mayfield, I think. I don't think you force Mayfield into what they want to do since he's had so many different offensive coordinators and head coaches over the last couple of years.
Here's a question. What would Baker Mayfield look like in a Kyle Shanahan offense? And because that's what you're kind of getting.
Yeah, I think you'd be having a great year right now. It would be his third year in that offense, and that fits his style with the play action and the bootlegging a little bit, for lack of another term for it. I just think that we had Ken Carmen, of course, Carmen and Lima on 92.3 The Fan, had Kenny on Monday night, and he seems to be getting more and more adamant that it was Baker Mayfield's fault more than anybody else last year. I don't know how you feel about it. He admitted there was a problem with the head coach, Freddie Kitchens, but he thought that somehow, some way, that if Baker had enough talent, he would have overcome it.
If you're installing a game plan that only works for the first drive of the game,
right,
then the problem's on the coaching staff.
Think about that. The first drive of the year, the opening game against Tennessee, they moved the ball down like there was nobody on defense, and that's the last you saw them move.
Well, I think week in and week out, Les, that they were able to do that consistently. You know, they always look good on the first drive of the game. They always look good on the scripted plays. That's where I blame coaching on that. Yeah, how can you look so good for one series and then all of a sudden tank after that? And clear that we heard after the season that they were going into the game with a game plan and then Freddie would blow it up. That's coaching. If that's true, that's coaching. And then the other part of it is, okay, well, if it's not work, say it works the first drive, doesn't work the second drive, doesn't work the third drive, then it's up to the coaching staff to try to figure this out, to try to get them out. It's called adjustments. And they just, I don't know. I can't sit here. I do think Baker Mayfield has a lot to prove this year, but I don't know if it's about his skill. I think it's just more about what's between his ears. But I'm not going to sit here and say that I think that it was all on coaching last year. That to me sounds a little preposterous.
Yeah, and he's got to know this is a big year for him. You got people in the front office and the coaching staff who are not beholden to him. He was not their pick, although Barry was there when it was made, but I doubt that he had that much input in it. I'm sure he signed off on it, but I'm not sure how much input he had in it. And Baker, this is where the big money comes in. If that's what he's looking for, this is the year he's got to make it.
Yeah, I agree with you. He's going to step up this year, I think, and basically a lot of it has to do with the contract that you're talking about. Yeah. And I think you're 100%. How many times have we seen players like that suddenly have this great epiphany in a contract season or a year where they know they can make more money, that they suddenly become better players? We see it in every sport, but I don't think that's why. I think that there's no excuses now. The Browns have given him everything he possibly could need, with the exception of a left tackle, and he should – this offense is set up for him to succeed. You know, have a fullback, have another tight end. You've got two great receivers. You got two great running backs. Let's go. Let's go get this thing done now. And if he fails, it's on him.
And no matter how much some people want to blame Freddie Kitchens with the ball bouncing the right way or getting a call, or he could have easily been 8-8, and who knows what else it could have been. I think the NFL is made for teams to be 8-8, and then if they're considerably better than 8-8, they'll show themselves. And then you'll have teams going from 8-8 down to 5-11. I just think the NFL is made to have teams rotate year in and year out, except for maybe the super teams to hang in there for a couple of years. There's no reason why the Browns have to. You can't tell me they're less than the middle of the pack as far as talent is concerned. I think they're above 500 talent, and if the coach is the right coach, at least at this point, I'm not looking for a Super Bowl, but I'm certainly looking, especially when they add a new team in the playoffs, I'm certainly thinking that this team should be contenders through most of the way this year.
I'm looking for a head coach that wants us. I'll know that we've got a good head coach if we're halfway through the season and we're talking about football issues and not visor issues or
Watches.
Watches or any of that garbage. I want to talk about football during the football season. And it's been a long time. We have a whole generation of kids that really don't understand what it means to talk about football during the football season when it comes to the Browns. You can talk about it with other teams, but we haven't done it since Bernie was here.
Yeah.
So let's get there. We've had one playoff game since '99. It's time to be in a situation where they've got grown-ups running things, and we'll see. We'll see how grown up Andrew Berry is, Kevin Stefanski, and how these guys can get it done. So far, so good for Stefanski. I mean, he hasn't had to do anything yet, but I like his demeanor, and boring sometimes means wins rather than having as much fun. So